3-year-old boy was found after being lost in the wilderness for days.
Unbelievable story that we found. It's a story of survival, effectively. Police are still trying to piece a lot of it together.
Riker's story begins in the picturesque town called Troy, which the Webb family called its home. Nestled in the heart of Montana, their peaceful life took a sudden turn. We write the 3rd of June 2022. Riker and his father were playing in their garden, reportedly with their dog. Meanwhile, the dad went inside the house for just a brief moment, as stated. When Mr. Webb stepped out back into the garden, he noticed Riker was nowhere to be seen. The horror thought of every single parent has come to reality for the Webb family in this very moment. Kids walk away sometimes. Yes. What I don't understand is how Riker's father, possibly with help, searched the surrounding area by himself for 2 whole hours before informing law enforcement. Especially in a rural area like the Webbs have their residence, which is home to numerous bears, mountain lions and wolves, every minute counts. Thankfully, the moment the Air National Guard learned of his absence, they instantly dispatched helicopters and drones. The Webb family home was located close to Bull Lake, which is just east of Bull Lake Road. Their 3-year-old was discovered 2 days later about 4 kilometers south of the residence in a forest cabin, hiding inside a lawnmower bag which was near Pine Ridge Road, reportedly and understandably whimpering. Thank God he was. Let's say he wasn't making any sounds, who knows what the outcome of this would have been. Now, this standing alone is already fascinating. A 3-year-old small child wandering 4 kilometers over the course of 2 days in very rural territory, with an average temperature of about 15 degrees during the day and about 10 degrees during the night, plus heavy thunderstorms, according to the weather history reports in Troy. Those storms were also the reasons why the search helicopters and drones had to be called back down. Sounds weird and horrible for Riker already, but what blows my mind to the max is that he supposedly was wearing different clothing when he was found than he was wearing when he went missing. This is absolutely unexplainable from top to bottom. The difficult thing here is that we do not have any kind of footage nor direct statements from his parents regarding the child's clothing the day he went missing to make a final conclusion. At least I didn't find any. Reports say that the initial clothing description given to searchers, and I quote, was different and inaccurate in comparison to what he was wearing when being found. One point to possibly support this is that Riker was discovered wearing a blue full-body pajama without any shoes, as you can see on the pictures. Given that he was already missing over 2 hours at 4:53 PM or 16:53 for my fellow Europeans, which is in late noon, where he was playing outside beforehand, it's uncommon for a child to not wear shoes, different clothing and or a check given the surroundings, temperature and weather during the day. Since you've now got the base knowledge about the case and the situation, let's look at 4 theories. Let me tell you beforehand, it will get bizarre and confusing. Theory number 1. Parental involvement. If someone is kidnapped or goes missing, it's often the people close to them who have something to hide. This was logically also considered in this case. What has mostly drawn attention to this theory are these 2 hours in which law enforcement was not contacted about Riker's absence. The majority of information regarding this theory is from social media platforms like TikTok and Reddit. I could not find any official documents or reports considering this theory being true or verifying any basis. To be honest, for me, this theory seems highly unlikely. First of all, because of the lack of information and basis about it, as well as the 2-hour time frame not being an indicator in my eyes. Of course, it's undoubtedly not the smartest action to not inform law enforcement as fast as possible, but I truly believe that the father or the parents thought he had to still be somewhere close by, considering his age. TikTok is also known for people using populist content to get attention and clout. An effect of this is spreading mis or partly true information as well as half knowledge without conducting proper research.
Bro, what in the ever-loving shit am I looking at right now? Dude, this kid's coming up on me. You can't be out here. Where's your mommy?
This makes TikTok, in this case, not the most trustable source of information, especially since the Ryker Webb topic is generating a lot of attention on said platform. Since we cannot debunk any theory with 100% certainty, we will deem this theory as most likely not having any connection to the case because of a lack of basis, information, proofs, and reason. If you do not agree with the conclusions on this or any of the following theories, feel free to explain your views in the comments. Also, if you found it interesting up to this point, consider sharing this video with a friend, leaving a like and a follow. Quick tip, if you do it now, it's done. Theory number 2, kidnapping. Was Ryker Webb kidnapped out of his garden? This theory would explain the possible difference in clothing and the large distance traveled. So we have two possible points speaking for it, right? Well, you can look at it this way, but we also have to acknowledge that Riker never talked about kidnapping according to law enforcement. Also, here we have possible counter-arguments. Riker was 3 years old at the time. The cognitive ability of a 3-year-old, also affecting speaking, is on a significantly lower level compared to older kids or obviously adults. Pairing this with being in absolute shock and pure fear, possible abductor might have been able to silence Riker's ability to talk about what happened. A second counter-argument is the alleged different clothing. If this was actually the case, which so far indications and reports support, somebody had to be in possession of this pajama, somehow putting it on Riker. While actually considering this theory, we also have to ask ourselves why. As most people are aware, abductors of children are often pedophile predators looking for sexual intercourse with minors through rape, which is absolutely sickening to the bottom of my stomach. Next to rape, another main cause is child trafficking, which is just as horrible. What speaks against these two theories is that, thank God, no marks of rape or any kind of sexual abuse were found on Riker's body in a medical examination right after his discovery. When it comes to child trafficking, the most obvious and blatant counter-argument is that, well, he's still here, as dumb as it sounds. You may ask, what about the possibility of Riker fleeing his abductors? I see this as highly unlikely considering his age and his physical abilities compared to a fully adult abductor. With that I mean speed, endurance, strength and orientation. Let me now show you something with caution. I found a video of presumably Ryker Webb's older brother Caden Webb. In this video, Caden is seen asking his brother if he remembers what happened. I will play the video for you shortly. Please note that I had no possibility of confirming that the person asking is actually Caden Webb and the child answering actually being Ryker Webb. Judging by the looks and the age, it seems highly likely. Have a look.
Keep asking about what happened. Riker, do you remember when you got lost?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
I see a house.
A house?
In the woods.
In the woods?
Yeah. So I can live and then I can live.
Someone lived in the house?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you, bro. That was scary. You okay though now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
After watching this, I could understand three main sentences or three main parts. The first one is someone lived there, someone came live there, and the sentence so I can live. After this, his alleged brother is heard asking someone lived in the house, to which he answered with the word yeah. How do we explain this? Well, we can't. To me, the phrase someone came live there paired with what sounds like so I can live makes me feel very uncomfortable. Also, note how Riker seems a bit dissociated and to be honest, his eyes give me a certain feeling of shock. As a conclusion for this theory, it's definitely more plausible than theory number 1 but still does not hold enough evidence for me, even with said video. I deem it as unlikely but still in range of possibility. Theory number 3. Riker is not who we think he is. at least anymore. This theory kind of correlates to the one before in trying to explain the changing clothing. One thing that could have happened is someone exchanging Ryker Webb against a similar looking child. At least people think so. It's often explained by a change in looks, such as facial structure, weight and eyes, as you can see on these images right here. In my eyes, this is simply untrue. The reason for a slight change in his appearance can easily be explained by not having access to water nor food in 2 whole days. As a conclusion, I deem all of theory number 3 as 99% unlikely because of a lack of common sense, factual evidence and reason. Theory number 4. Maybe it's not as crazy as people make it sound. What if it's all simple and people just interpreted something big into a maybe just small case? This happens a lot, especially with social media platforms like TikTok, where these theories draw a lot of attention. It could be that Ryker Webb, on the 3rd of June 2022, while playing outside in his garden, his dog ran off a bit into the forest with Riker following to the moment he simply lost orientation and continued walking into a different direction. Judging by the rain and the cold, the log cabin the child was found in can easily be used as cover from weather, and the lawnmower bag he was inside as some kind of sleeping bag. When it comes to his clothing, it could all be a misunderstanding, at least possibly, since reports say that the initial clothing description given to searchers was different and inaccurate in comparison to what he was wearing when being found, does not have to mean someone changed his clothing. He could have lost certain parts of clothing during wandering through the forest, or his parents could have accidentally provided incomplete or incorrect information about his type of outfit, since they most likely were in a state of shock and fear as well. As of now, to me, this theory is the most likely. But what about the video of Caden Webb asking Ryker Webb certain questions and the sentence that people came to live there? Riker was possibly talking about the people that have discovered him on day 2 of his journey. Looking at the video, it seems like he's also watching television, which for a now 4-year-old is a major source of distraction, likely making it a bit unprecise with his choice of words. The final conclusion in the mysterious case of Ryker Webb might be vague, but the 2 most likely theories are number 2, kidnapping, and number 4, he simply got lost. I strongly lean towards theory number 4, since it's able to explain the most things and leaves only small room for the unexplainable. But here as well, it's not a fact, just a conclusion I based off of my research. The reality can always surprise us with being totally different than we thought. This case will always remain with a spark of mystery and discomfort. We will most likely never be fully sure what events unfolded in Troy, Montana on the 3rd and 4th of June 2022. All we can do now is be glad that Riker was alive as well as physically unharmed. Undoubtedly, it will leave a mental mark on him. Being alone in a giant dark forest for 2 days, with the fear and the imagination of a 3-year-old must be horrible. Let's wish Ryker Webb all the best in his life and that he never ever has to go through anything like that again. Alright, you made it to the end of this video. If you enjoy true crime, history, geopolitics and what if scenarios, why not leave a like, share the channel and a follow. Remember, the world is evil, so watch out for yourself. Thank you for watching Valleycore. See you next time.